2022. A marathon training has just begun. Okay people, so this is it, 2022 training plan. Now, if you didn't see last week's video, I'm going to be doing Edinburgh Marathon, and I've worked back from that and I've created my plan around that. Now, just as a heads up, you can download my training plan for Edinburgh. I think it's either Edinburgh 345 or EDI 345 on the website. I'll stick a link down below and you can grab it if you want it. Okay, right, so I think what we do, I'm going to give you a bit of a flavour in terms of my training plan and the sort of things that I'm considering thinking about in this training plan, and it may sort of, I don't know, hopefully get some thoughts in your mind on where you want to go, and maybe some of the stuff I'm doing you might want to incorporate. It's entirely up to you. But yeah, let's do that first. And you know what, I think I'm going to pick a couple of weeks out along the way to give you an idea about where I'm going and what I'm doing with this training plan. So as we go through this, I'm going to put some of the stuff up on the screen so you can see where I'm going. Now, this is a 16-week plan, and just as a heads up, I think most of you now know, but I am a qualified athletics and running coach here, right? So, but the stuff I've done for myself, I wouldn't necessarily recommend for you. So the reason that we do these plans for people is to tailor them to each runner and on an individual basis, and understanding those runners and putting it all together and basing it around that. So what I've done here is based around what I want to achieve and how I want to train for this 16 weeks. But so just a heads up, bit of a caveat. Obviously, I've done, a few marathons now. I've done a few half marathons. This is based around my sort of times and my sort of goals, which we established last week is that 3:45 marathon in Edinburgh. Now, the Edinburgh Marathon's in May, so I've got a few weeks, which is kind of nice because of what I've got coming up in terms of the surgery and all that sort of stuff. So it just gives me a little bit of comfort in terms of where we're at. I used the time over Christmas to just try and build some structure into my running, again, in terms of frequency, because I think that's the most important thing you can do before you go into a training plan, is build that sort of base level and the consistency until you launch into that plan. Okay, right, so we're going to dive into weeks 3 and 4. The first 2 weeks are pretty light in terms of, where we go in. I usually go in at about 13 miles. And like I said a second ago, I've already established my patterns. So just to give you an example on week 3. So we've got Monday, we've got an easy pace run, 30 minutes, actually 35 in total, but 30 minutes. That's for me is when I'm doing a session. I obviously, again, I say obviously it's not obviously, but I coach in the evenings, right? So some of these runs are incorporated into the stuff I'm doing around coaching. So that's a 35-minute run. I run a ladies club on a Monday, so that's pretty much me running there and running back. Tuesday is medium effort. Now this is a marathon pace, so the marathon pace of 3:45, I probably should know this, but I think it's about 5:20 per kilometre. I probably got that wrong, let me know in the comments. So I should have checked beforehand. Wednesdays, I'm putting in cross training before my low efforts. I've just got pretty much a banker, a run in there, 45-minute run, but I've got the cross training in the morning. The plan is to try and get back in the pool. That's what I'm hoping. On a Thursday, I've got a rest day. Now, that's an active rest. I actually do a walking group on a Thursday. So I'm doing 3 to 4 miles of an active walk on a Thursday morning anyway, but that is a rest day. There's no running that takes place. On a Friday, in week 3, is a low effort. That will change. Easy pace, 35 minutes. Again, banker miles. Saturday, long run. So this is 16 miles. We jump in at week 3 at 16 miles. Now, this is me. I'm not recommending this to you, but I'm going in at 16 miles. Obviously, like I said a second ago, I've already done 13 miles and I've built up to that. Then Sunday's my recovery run. The reason I pulled this week out, or this block, is because the week 4 is actually a down week. I keep the pattern, but I just reduce some of the intensity and just, so I go from that 16 miles, I drop down to 10 miles, for example, in the long run. Right, so we're going to scoot along to week 7 and 8, where we're sort of really getting into this now. And what is that, halfway? Yeah, halfway. So I wish I'd have that coffee before I start filming. So week 7, okay, so we're now, Monday nights is now a 50-minute run, easy pace. 5 minutes of that is warm-up, cool down. Then Tuesdays we've got that, the cross training's gone into a Tuesday, and we've got a low effort 50-minute run. Okay, so there's nothing crazy about that. It's just mileage, time on feet and mileage. Wednesdays, the reason I've switched to cross trains because Wednesday now becomes my high effort day. So it's about concentrating on that high effort and getting an absolute nailed down high effort session. To give you an example, we've got a 10-minute easy run, 2-minute interval, 2-minute recovery. So I'm running hard as I can for 2 minutes, then I'm having a 2-minute recovery, and I'm going to repeat that 6 times. I've then got a sort of cool down run to finish off that session. Friday is a marathon paced run, so that easy effort that I said about in the first place is now gone up to that that marathon paced, goal paced runs. I'm looking at 50 minutes here, so 55 minutes in total running at goal pace. Then Saturday we jump straight in back, and week 7 we're back into that 16 miles, but we're now putting elements of pacing. So I've got 12 miles at easy, then I've got 3 miles at goal, and then I've got 1 mile cool down. So it's all about adding pace into those longer runs, and then Sunday's a recovery run. That recovery run for me never really tops out at like 35-40 minutes. It's just about getting some of that rubbish out of my legs. Just to give you an example, on week 8, you can probably see it on the screen, but we've got some hill sprints in there. So easy like pace warm up, 5-10 minutes, and then we've got a 3-minute incline at tempo pace. So I'm looking to gun up the hill at a reasonable pace, not an out and out sprint, but get up there in that consistent tempo pace, get up to the top, and then recover back down. So that's week 7 and 8. Hopefully that week section just shows you where the sort of, I've got that sort of medium, couple of medium bits in there. I've got some pace thrown in on my long run, but also the high efforts. That's really, really key, is the high efforts for me. We're going to really fast forward now up to, where was it? Week 11 and 12. So week 11 and 12, we are now back in same patterns in terms of Mondays, Tuesdays. I've got a high effort tempo pace, so 10-minute warm up, 3 times 10-minute run at tempo pace. We've got Friday, we've got like 60-minute marathon goal pace. On the Saturday, we've got, so this is where again I've mixed the pacing up on my long run. So we're doing the first 6 miles at goal pace. Oh, sorry, easy pace for the first 6 miles. It's always easy at the start. Then marathon pace or goal pace for 3 miles, and then easing off for the last 7 miles. So I'm chucking it in the middle of that sort of session. So it's trying to mix up the pacing in the longer run to try and put that pace through the legs, which will then effectively tire my legs out, and then I have to continue the longer run. It's trying to build stamina, but also that familiarization of running at goal pace within the run. Then we've got a recovery run on the Sunday as normal, and that, just go back to the long run, that sort of mixed up pace, I do that in 16, 18 and 20. So I always do the sort of 16, 18, 20. If you've been following the channel now, you'll know that I do that on my marathon training. I go through 16, 18, 20 sort of rotations on my long runs. Right, and the last one, because we would have tapered, I think week 14 taper would have started, but effectively the last 2 weeks is a real scale back. I mean, my long run here is 10 miles and it's just like easy pace, extra rest days. We're still running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week, but we've got 2 rest days in there. And then the week before the race, we've got two low efforts and a lot of rest. That's me in personal preference. Some people like to do more. I like to do less. I have in the past done a half marathon the week before a race. I may even do that again, but at the moment that is sitting with a nice easy 10 miles the Saturday before the race. Okay, so that's my plan. I'm quite happy with it, and I've said this, I think, maybe in all the videos I've done about training plans. It's only a plan, it's not the law. This, I guarantee, will change. Stuff will come up, God forbid injuries, races will come in, races will get dropped. Things will happen, and you've got to be fluid, and that's the point of a training plan. And again, that's the key, I think, when you do work with a coach, the fact that you can be, you know, quite agile with what you're doing. You know, you can have a conversation and say, oh, well, I might actually do this because this has happened. And that's the benefit of coaching. Now, I appreciate everybody can't afford that, so I get that. But I think the message I want to give you is that you've got to, it's not the law. You don't have to do it. Just because it's on a piece of paper doesn't mean you have to do it. So, you know, move stuff around and things like that. And as I say, that won't be exactly how I do it, but what it's there for is to give me a guide through the next 16 weeks. So that's it, people. I'm excited. I'm nervous. There's going to be those days, probably more than days, weeks, when I feel like, how the hell am I going to do this? How the hell am I going to keep that pace? All that sort of stuff, which is totally natural. So if you're feeling the same, don't worry about it. But yeah, let's see how we get on. Let's see what happens. Who knows? All I can do is give 110%. Right, so let me know in the comments before you go, what are you going to be training for in 2022? Have you got a training plan? Where did you source it? You know, if there's some free plans out there, put them in the comments below so people know where they can find them. And let me know where you're going with this. But I'm excited to vlog the journey like we always do on the channel. And yeah, let's see what happens. So that's it from me, guys. I'll catch you later.